Well, welcome to the Edith and Peter O'Donnell Awards dinner. We've had a good day of science and a good day of politicking with the academies, and we look forward to a pleasant and entertaining evening. I'd like to start with a couple of recognitions of people who've really contributed significantly to implementing the events and the meeting. Ernie Cockrell, I know, has just gotten back. I saw him a few moments ago. Ernie was is the head of the Industrial and Community Committee that has been so successful in raising funds for this meeting. They've done it with ease, and Ernie, where are you? We'd like to just give you a recognition. Thank you very much. Now, I don't want you to think that Ernie did all the work here. There are a number of members of his committee that are here, and I'd like to just recognize them, and if you could stand and we'll hold applause. Stephen Cassiani. Stephen, where are you? Peter Flan. Malcolm Gillis. Kenny Jastro, Peter O'Donnell, and Charles Tate. Thank you all very much for the contributions that you've made. As you know, this is the first year of the Edith and Peter O'Donnell Awards, and we're very pleased to announce that ExxonMobil has provided resources for the initiation of this activity in year one, and we'd like to recognize ExxonMobil for that. And now I'd like to turn the podium over to Malcolm Gillis, who is the previous president of Rice University, who will make the introduction of the senator.
Thank you. Also, Dr. Caskey, for reasons known only to Kay's staff, I also do the invocation tonight. So I have a dual task. The invocation first. Tonight, amidst other reasons, we gather to pay homage to the lives and the work of our colleagues Jack Kilby and Rick Smalley, whose earthly explorations ceased in this past year. Both were possessed of indomitable but receptive, questing spirits, concerned both with ideas for their own sake and for what new ideas might do to alleviate societal problems. We humbly ask that the spirit that infused their work may also enter our own, so that we may be led to follow them, both in elevating the human spirit as well as the human condition. Peace to them and to us also. Long ago, in a university far away, I was assigned to present, under very tight time constraints, a speaker by the name of Henry Kissinger. And because time was so limited, and because, after all, it was Dr. Henry Kissinger, I thought it wise to collapse my introduction to a single sentence. To wit, I said, and now I present our speaker, who needs no introduction, Secretary Henry Kissinger. Upon ascending the podium, Dr. Kissinger turned to me to say, "But Malcolm, you are wrong. I really need these introductions." Well, tonight is very different. The senior senator from Texas really does not need any introduction in any sense, especially in this gathering. Please come on up, Senator. Her accomplishments in state government and in the U.S. Senate already range very widely across fields as diverse as defense and foreign policy through transportation and energy and the environment and veterans affairs. This audience knows her best, however, for her passionate, tenacious commitment to the betterment of science and engineering and medicine, especially in her home state. This organization, the Academy for Medicine, Engineering, and Science of Texas, will surely be one of the most important legacies that she will bequeath to Texas. The entire state is grateful for her efforts in this and other areas, but the technological and the scientific and the medical community will always be, especially in her debt. Present and future generations of talented researchers across Texas are extremely fortunate to have such an eloquent, tireless advocate. So please welcome again our senior senator, Kay Bailey Hutchinson.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Malcolm. I walked up because I thought you had agreed not to give me an introduction. I want to say to Malcolm, you were one of the people that helped make this organization the strong one that it is becoming, and there will be more recognition of the many people who started this organization, shaped it so that it would meet the purpose that we formed the organization to reach. And I couldn't be more pleased that we are here in Houston for our 3rd annual conference. My mission tonight is to introduce the tribute to the 2 Nobel laureates from Texas who have done so much for us in their lifetimes and who left us this year. Few men can claim to have revolutionized the world. We had 2 that were in this academy who did their work in Texas and indeed did revolutionize America and the world. We are poorer for their loss. They both made large changes by concentrating on small things. Jack Kilby invented the monolithic integrated circuit, and he was himself a monolith of the technology revolution in the last 60 years. He did his work at Texas Instruments, and we lost him, but he was a figure for all of us for the longest time. Dr. Richard Smalley was a giant of the nano world. Dr. Smalley once wrote that when he was 18, he was convinced that Kansas City, Missouri, was the exact center of the universe. During his life, he changed the center of our universe by seeing the grandest possibilities in the world's most minute details. In addition to his barrier-breaking work with Dr. Robert Curl at Rice University, he was one of the founding co-chairs of this academy. He immediately saw the potential of gathering our state's best minds and sharing their potential and building it. I want to say that when I first approached Dr. Smalley about being the founding co-chair along with Dr. Michael Brown of this organization, he really hesitated. He said, I don't like honorific organizations. I don't like to go to meetings, but I am going to do this because I think it is very worthwhile for the building of our scientific community. He didn't live in an ivory tower, however. He did so much that was practical and so important for the future. He wanted to make sure that the younger generation would be nurtured to continue to build our state and nation. So he visited schools. He put together seminars. I went to one where he was trying to assure that our middle school and high school students were encouraged to know how much fun science could be at an early enough time that they could take the prerequisites to go on and get into our best universities and go into the engineering and science programs. He was also an advisor to the Department of Energy. He was an activist saying to the world, for anyone who would listen, we've got to do more diversifying of our energy sources in this country or our country will die. I talked to him at a practical level, not the high nanotechnology level that he understood, but most people wouldn't. He could talk to normal people like me. And he made such a difference in the effort that we are finally making in our country to diversify our energy sources, because we must do that so we will not be 60% dependent on foreign sources for the energy needs of our country. The greatest nation on earth cannot depend on foreign sources for the energy that is the production of our society, and he knew that. On a personal note, I can say that he has been a guiding light in the formation of this academy. Without his leadership, working with Michael Brown and all of the other intellectual leaders that have done so much, we would not have had the phenomenal success and support and structure that we do today. And he would be the first one to say that it is just the beginning. He will always be remembered as the Academy flourishes through the years as the founding co-chairman of this Academy. His widow, Deborah, and his son, Chad, were the lights of his life. All of us who knew Richard Smalley knew that because he talked about them. He talked about them a lot and how much it meant to him that he met Deborah and that he was able to raise Chad. Anyone who knew Richard Smalley knew that they were the most important part of his life. He even griped to me one time because we had a Saturday meeting on Valentine's Day of the founding board, and he said, oh boy, this was a tough choice, but I'm telling you, I'm on a 2 o'clock plane because I've bought this wonderful gift for Deborah, and I'm going to ask her to marry me, and you're not stopping me. So that's the way he felt, and I would like to ask Deborah and Chad to stand. We are so glad you're with us tonight. To introduce this video, I will just end by saying Richard Smalley's loss cannot be measured, but his spirit will live forever. Thank you, and I'd like to introduce the video tribute to Jack Kilby and Dr. Richard Smalley.
In the summer of 1976, a 33-year-old Rick Smalley arrived at Rice University from the University of Chicago. As a professor of chemistry and later physics, Rick's experiments included vaporizing graphite with laser beams and examining the resulting clusters of atoms. By 1985, this process led to his discovery of a previously unknown form of carbon, the molecule carbon-60 Buckminster fullerene.
One of the joys of being a scientist is at these moments where you're around when it is realized for the first time that the universe has always been built this way. And we're just now still figuring out all the consequences from this.
The soccer ball-shaped molecule of 60 carbon atoms became known as the buckyball. Further discoveries of a whole family of different shaped, nano-sized carbon cage molecules followed.
And I now ask you to receive your Nobel Prizes from the hands.
For this, Rick and his team at Rice were awarded the 1996 Nobel Prize in Chemistry.
Big celebration just now wrapping up over at Rice University to honor its 2 new Nobel Prize winners.
The Nobel Prize brought greater exposure and a larger audience for Rick's vision for the future of nanotechnology. Rick believed the nanotube form of buckyballs had the most promising future. With nearly 100 times the strength of steel and 1/6 the weight, the material conducts electricity better than copper. To move his findings toward more tangible applications, he founded Carbon Nanotechnologies Incorporated, producing large quantities of these nanotubes for research and commercialization. After being diagnosed with cancer in 1999, Rick intensified his schedule, making appearances for interviews and lectures. Rick's vision included using nanotechnology to develop inexpensive, clean sources of energy.
The problem is that at minimum, by mid-century, we need to find some way of generating an incredible amount of energy, 10 terawatts in sustained fashion.
He twice testified before congressional committees advocating increased funding for research. He believed a new plentiful energy supply could solve major world problems.
It sounds corny, but I think it's just really true. For this particular problem, being a scientist, saving the world actually makes sense.
Rick Smalley found the future in the tiniest of objects and sought to foster its growth for the very highest purpose, improving our world. Jack Kilby was born in 1923 in Missouri and raised in Great Bend, Kansas. Even as a teenager, he had an idea he wanted to become an engineer. He served as a radio operator in World War II, interrupting his college plans, but he returned to school. He earned his bachelor's and master's degrees in electrical engineering at the universities of Illinois and Wisconsin. In 1958, he landed a position at Texas Instruments in Dallas, and within the first few months, Jack had dreamed up an idea that would change our world. He had created the monolithic integrated circuit, the first time anyone had placed multiple electronic components on a single device. This innovation came to be known as the microchip.
It became very clear that the only thing that TI could make effectively at that time were semiconductor products. So since it had to be semiconductors, I began to think about how much you could do with semiconductors and realized that you could make all the circuit elements that you needed that way.
Initially, not even Jack fully appreciated that this was one of the most significant breakthroughs ever. Soon he had developed the first commercial use for the integrated circuit, co-inventing the handheld calculator. Jack Kilby's microchip had given birth to the modern electronics industry. Jack received many honors over the next 40 years. The National Medal of Science, National Medal of Technology, and the Kyoto Prize in Advanced Technology. In 1990, the Kilby International Awards were established, awarded annually to honor unsung heroes like Jack Kilby, who make significant contributions through innovations and education. In 1992, Jack bestowed the Kilby Award to Richard Smalley. In 2000, Jack was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics, putting this soft-spoken engineer once again in the spotlight.
Well, it's certainly one of the highest honors that anyone could hope for. It's not one that I had expected, so it's especially pleasing from that standpoint.
Today, Jack's legacy can be seen literally everywhere. Texas Instruments has established the $150 million Kilby Center to foster research and development for newer and better technologies in silicon manufacturing. Microchips are all around us, in cell phones, personal computers, and any of the thousands of consumer electronics in the marketplace.
It's hard to believe, but even better things are yet to come as engineers find new directions for this technology. I can't wait to see what the future holds.
Standing 6'6", Jack Kilby literally towered over us. But the extraordinary discovery made by this gentle giant has taken us all to new heights. Jack Kilby and Richard Smalley, we honor the memory of these two revolutionary innovators, the global scale of their discoveries, and most of all, the high standard they set for us all.
The Texas Academy is very fortunate not only to be supported by a committee such as that headed by Ernie Cockrell, but this is an organization that is very blessed to be heavily endorsed by the academic community and the academic leadership of the state. And I'd like to give recognition to the leaders of the academic institutions that are supportive of the Academy that are here tonight. And I'd ask for you not to have any applause. Might go to their head. But they're absolutely indispensable. I would like to have each of you stand just for a moment so that we can begin to get to know each of you. I'll start with Baylor College of Medicine, Bobby Alford, who I know is here, Chancellor, and Peter Traber, I'm not sure is here. I think Peter may have had to leave this evening. I wanted to make a special comment. I spoke with Ian Thomas, who is the Dean of the Medical School at Tulane. And we had invited him here this evening, and he wanted me to express to the entire academic community his appreciation for the hospitality that Texas has given to his students and his faculty to be able to carry on with their medical school activities and training. He apologized for not being able to be here this evening. It's a generous outpouring of the academic community to help the New Orleans academic community. From Stephen F. Austin, Tito Guerrera. From Texas A&M, Bob McTeer. Texas Tech, John Whitmore. Texas Tech Health Science Center, Roy Wilson. University of Texas System, Mark Udolph. University of Texas at Dallas, David Daniel. Now this is getting down to one of these Aggie UT things, you know. The University of Texas at El Paso, Diana Nacholeto. Ricardo Romo from the University of Texas at San Antonio. University of Texas Health Science Center here in Houston, Jim Willerson. The University of Texas Southwest Medical Center in Dallas, Kern Willenthal. We have a number of very well-respected scientists here that always deserve special recognition, our Nobel laureates in the state. From Texas A&M, Norman Borlaug. Is Norman here? University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center, Michael Brown. Rice University, Robert Curl. University of Texas Southwest Medical Center, Joe Goldstein. And University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston, Fred Murat. There are a number of regents who are also here. John White, Texas A&M Board of Regents. I saw John earlier. Baylor College of Medicine, Board of Regents, Adam Trevino. Rice Board of Regents, Robert Brockman. And we have some special guests. State Senator Todd Staples. Now this last one requires a little explanation. Michael Coates, NASA. You're going to be going down to NASA tomorrow afternoon, and I understand that there will be a raffle in the bus for one orbit trip. So if you make the trip, you'll be able to do it. I'd like now to turn the podium over to Senator Hutchinson so that we can get on to the main events of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, very much. I'm very much looking forward to our evening. And I want to say that there is one other person that Tom didn't realize had made it, and he made a special effort to be here because, as many of you know, we are all so interested in science, but there was a little tiny football game in California yesterday, and some of the people who made a special effort to be here are some of our corporate sponsors who've already been introduced. Mark Udoff, who was at the game, and the new president of the University of Texas, designated to start February 1, was also in California and has just arrived because he has heard so much about the importance of this organization. He is, I will say quietly, he is actually a lawyer. He was dean of the University of Texas Law School, but he has a chemistry degree, undergraduate. Bill Powers. Welcome, Bill Powers. Stand up, please. I just wanted to mention that to say all is not lost. A lawyer with a chemistry degree. But we're very pleased that Bill will be taking the reins for Larry Faulkner, who also was at the game last night. And we all, of course, had a wonderful time, but we appreciate the special effort, Bill, you made, as well as Mark Udoff, to be with us. I want to just start by saying that I love to attend these meetings and the presentations, and I always tell everyone that I understand 25 to 50% of what is said